Welcome everyone. Today we have the 2021 Mercedes-Benz A-Class sedan. In this video with this 2021 Mercedes-Benz A-Class, we're going to take a look at everything on the outside, the inside, and go for a test drive. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I think about it and what you get for a vehicle that starts in the mid $30,000 range with several options. All right, so let's start out with these exterior details on this 2021 A-Class. So first of all, right up front, you will find LED headlights. LED headlights are standard, including the daytime running light. It's that little kind of reverse check up above the headlight. Those look good, LED high and low beams. You got the big Mercedes emblem, kind of a sleek front end. What do y'all think of the design? You can also see that the daytime running light is what the blinker is. So that looks sleek. These headlights do a nice job. I also have a night review if you want to check that out, where there's actually not any snow. And even though we don't have them, you can get adaptive headlights optional. This paint color here is the optional color. It's a $720 option. It is denim blue metallic. I think it looks nice. Definitely good contrast with the snow. It does have a nice metallic-y sheen to it as well. As for the wheels, 18-inch wheels are now standard. It used to be 17-inch wheels, but now they're 20-inch wheels. And these are actually optional. They're 5-spoke with black accents. I'm actually glad that we don't have larger wheels on here. This sedan's not very big, and these wheels look just fine on here. And one quick note about the mirrors. First of all, they can power fold. They've got the LED signals in them. They're also heated. They can tilt down in reverse as well. And on the premium package, the driver's side automatically dims. One little bit of detail here that we get with the A-Class is these two-toned handles. So you've got paint color and then you've got that chrome look, as well as the chrome around the window sills. So you've kind of got a little bit of a classier design paired with those wheels. And dimensionally, this is on the smaller end. It is a compact car at 179 inches, but you've got a shorter trunk back here. You've got LED taillights, LED blinkers. The lights look nice. A220 model here with 4MATIC all-wheel drive, and we'll take it for a test drive in a little bit. And then you've kind of got those double outlets down here. And then when we take a look at the trunk, this is not a foot activated trunk or motion activated or anything, but you do have a little touchpad right there. It lifts up all the way, and back here it's actually a pretty small trunk. It's only about 8.5 cubic feet, which sedan standards, that is pretty small, especially compared to even some small crossovers. But nice thing is that those hinges, they don't get in the way of your cargo. You know, they have their own section where they go, but you have some decent pockets in here. I can fit a baby stroller and, you know, several suitcases back here. It's just not as big according to the numbers, but you get a center pass-through. All the seats fold down and a center pass-through, so that's really convenient. And unfortunately, under here, you don't get a spare tire with the A-Class. Now, Mercedes gives you the smart key system, so you've got this really sleek looking key fob. It fits into your pocket well. It does not have remote start on here though. You can do that through the app on your phone, but I wish we at least had this on our key fob. But you've got this little square right there. You can just touch that. It will lock. The mirrors are power folding, or there's just a sensor in the back and then it will unlock. And there's kind of a lot to know about these seats. So as we take a look at them, these are not real leather seats. These are actually synthetic leather. They still look nice. They feel nice. They have a nice pattern. You can get other seats optional, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. But you've got your basic power adjustment. You even have this extending thigh cushion. So it's manual extension. So that's nice to give you a little extra thigh support. And you get memory settings standard, both driver and passenger, 3-position, and then this is actually how you move your seat. So you can tilt it up and down, move it back and forth, and recline. And then when you start it up, you saw my backrest move back a little bit. This does have a easy entry exit system, but it's not as big of movement as you get with some others. So getting in and out of here, it's a little bit tight sometimes. And I've been comfortable in here. I'm 5'9". I'm not very big, but I mean, it's a little bit tight in here. It feels a little tight, but headroom is still good. Legroom seems to be okay. And I've just been pretty comfortable in here for the most part. The real kicker, at least in the USA, is that these seats aren't standard with heating. They're not standard with leather. They're not standard with ventilation. They're just standard with memory settings. So if you want heating, ventilation, or leather, those are all paid upgrades. The steering wheel is leather wrapped no matter what, but it's not heated standard. This is an optional feature as well. We don't actually have that, but we do have the heated seats, which have that button over there. And it's not power adjustable. It is manual tilt and telescoping. Now let's take a look at the back seat. So a couple quick notes before we hop in is that you've got the same seats that you do in the front. They look nice, they are comfortable. For the babies, you've got your ISOFIX anchors on each side of the car. And then legroom at 5'9". This is definitely not the strength of this car. Foot space isn't all that great either. You know, this is a compact sedan, so that's what you get. But you do get air conditioning vents back here, which is good to see. And then there's just one USB-C charging port down there. I like how there are some pockets back here on each side as well. And the door has the same material that you do up front with a padded armrest and a nice grab handle. Of course, you've got a center fold down armrest right here. It's got a little bit of padding to it. And then just like that GLB that I showed you, you've got cup holders. And the nice thing is that these can actually accommodate really large drinks too. And then sitting up tall back here, I'm 5'9". My head is touching, but I think it's just because I'm wearing my hat. So I can at least sit here without being too uncomfortable. My legs are a little bit tight, but the seat themselves aren't too bad. They're just really low. So my legs feel like they're pretty high up. So I wouldn't want to be back here for a long time, but for a small sedan, it'll work. All right, let's go ahead and start it up. Foot on the brake, push button start. Got a nice digital cluster, but let me show you in a little bit. So starting over on the door, you do have some nicer, softer material here, kind of down into this armrest. It is a soft, little bit of padding for the armrest, nice metal trim. I like the grab handle. This has a nice feel to it. And same with this kind of brushed metal trim up here and all your seat controls. Those are all automatic one-touch windows. You can open your trunk right there. Got a little bit of storage down here, and my bottle fits in there just perfect. Just to the inside, you'll find your light controls. Everything's pretty easy, and your electronic parking brake. And this actually has a rear fog light with this button right there. No front fog lights, but you get a rear fog light. And it's important to know that there are a few new standard features for 2021. Not that they're new, but they're now standard. So in the mirror, see that little triangle off to the bottom left, blind spot, that is now standard. It's not an option anymore, it's standard. You also get 64 color ambient lighting standard too, which looks really nice in here. Be sure to check out my night video if you want to see all the details on that. And when we look at the steering wheel, like I said, you can get this heated optional, but ours is not heated. It is leather wrapped. It's comfortable to hold on to. You got some grips, kind of got some nice trim here. And the steering wheel is actually a very useful thing here because, first of all, you can control your entire digital display up there using these buttons here, cruise control. And then over here, you can even control your touch screen, that screen, with this part of the steering wheel. Plus you've got your audio controls and phone controls. You also get rain sensing windshield wipers on that stock, and you get an actual stock shifter. So that's how you shift. And this display is optional. We have the premium package, which gives us this 10.25-inch display. Otherwise it's just a 7-inch display. But there's a lot that you can do. So first of all, you can have a more traditional look like this. Speedometer on the left, tachometer on the right. But you can control everything that you see in the middle here. You can move it over and control what you see on that right side. So there's a lot of different information you can swipe through, even your navigation, as you can see. And then pretty much all the same stuff over here. So you can have a completely different layout all the time. And there's more than just trip computer stuff. You can see your radio or media stuff. You can even change kind of the layout of the displays. It changes a little bit, but nothing significant. You can get navigation on here. You can get a full screen navigation. So check this out. It changes the entire thing just like that. You can also get your driver assistance stuff on here to where you can have the full screen be driver assistance stuff. So if you've got radar cruise control, lane keeping system, all that stuff, you can look at that. Even though you can see that on there, we don't have radar cruise control or a lane keeping system. Those are optional on the driver assistance package, and we don't have those at this price point. And then over here, we've got this 10.25-inch screen, which is coupled with the digital display up there. So these come together. Either you get two 7-inch screens or two 10.25-inch screens. Of course, we have the premium package for these screens, but this is touchscreen, and you can also use it with a touchpad down below. I like it. It's very responsive. It's very customizable as well. There's just so much that you can see on here. I mean, for example, this is the ambient lighting, and I'll go through more of this in the test drive, but you can customize a lot with that. Go back to your home button. You can, of course, go to your radio. You can rewind. You've got Sirius XM. HD radio, even Wi-Fi available on here. We just have the standard stereo system. The Burmester Premium Audio is available, but we don't have it. But let's take a listen to this stereo. The stereo sounds okay, but it does rattle a little bit in here if you have the bass up enough, which is not ideal. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard on here as well. No matter which size screen you get, it just doesn't take up the whole screen, which is disappointing. You just kind of have a smaller screen. I wish that they could format it to lay out the whole screen. Then down below, we've got dual zone climate control, standard, so that's a nice standard feature. You and your passenger can have your own controls, and you get physical buttons, so everything is really easy to use. Just down there, you get a little storage mat that does have a texture to it, which is nice. You also get a 12-volt power outlet to the right and a USB Type-C right here. There's only USB-C charging ports in here. You can get a little adapter, or you can get just an actual USB-C plug. The cup holders are nice, so my bottle fits in there just fine. And you can accommodate some smaller drinks too. So those little flaps can pop out, and you can have smaller drinks in here. You can tuck it away if you want to. And then as we get back here, this is the touchpad that you can also use to control your screen. You've got a nice little hand rest or palm rest right there, to where it's pretty easy and ergonomical to operate this. Your drive mode button is right here, and we'll go through some of those in the test drive, volume, and some shortcuts for your map and media stuff there. I like this layout for the most part. I just don't like the piano black because it definitely has some scratches on it already. This car's not very old and collects a lot of lint and dust. And we don't have it in here, but wireless charging is available and optional. Center armrest is just like the GLB. It's got a little bit of padding to it. It looks pretty nice. It's decent width for a car this size, and it opens up just like that with another USB-C charging port in there. It is a little bit small, but there's more space in here than what it actually looks like. Mercedes gives you a locking glove box and kind of a neat texture up here. It's almost like a perforated design and more brushed metal trim up there, just like on the passenger door. So the design in here, the layout, looks nice, and it's also functional. The premium package also gives us an automatic dimming rearview mirror. That's not standard, it is an optional feature. And then I've really got to complain about this. So, of course you get some visors, but they don't have a slide out piece, and the visor itself does not slide. So visor test on the straight pipes, this would definitely not pass. And one more thing I forgot to mention is the voice assistant. So on here, you just say, "Hey Mercedes.
How can I help?
I'm warm."
I'm reducing the temperature to 83 degrees.
So that's pretty cool. "Hey Mercedes.
How may I help you?
I need a coffee."
Here are several coffee shops.
And then look at that, she pulls it up. So she's pretty good, but she can be really spacey sometimes too. It is a learning system, so it's supposed to adapt and get better at what you say to it, and you can talk naturally to it. Another thing that I missed is that you do have an optional head-up display, but we don't have it on here. And then Mercedes says we get a panorama sunroof standard, and it's actually not panoramic. It's bigger than usual, but it doesn't necessarily go to the back seat. It's just a larger than average sunroof, but at least you have that. And a quick look at the visibility, looking out the back. So just a quick summary of the interior and things that I like and don't like. I wish that there was some more standard stuff on the inside here. Like these screens are, the standard screens are on the small side for a luxury vehicle. The seats aren't leather, they're not heated standard. Even the rear view mirror isn't automatic dimming, things like that. It is a very nice, ergonomical, and functional interior, and I've been happy with that. I just wish that you would get more on the base standard options. Now under the hood you get about two options of powertrain for the A-Class, one of them being the AMG with 302 horsepower, but that's not the one that we have. The one that we have is the standard 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo that'll put out 188 horsepower and 221 pound-feet of torque, but that torque actually does come out really early, which is nice. I'm a little bit surprised to see that we don't actually have a hood insulator or a hood pad. That's really strange. This does come with a 7-speed dual clutch transmission, which is actually one of my complaints. We'll talk about that more in the test drive. Miles per gallon is going to range around 24 city for front wheel drive and all wheel drive, and then up to 35 on the highway for front wheel drive and 34 for all wheel drive. Okay everyone, let's go ahead and start it up and get on the road. So first, I'm gonna kind of give you my first impressions here, and then I'll put the camera on my head and we'll get going. But it is snowy right now, and I only had like half of a day with no snow and ice to drive this, and that's when I did my night video. So I haven't been able to drive this like normal on normal roads in my normal daily routine. It's just been snow and sliding around and having some fun because we have the 4MATIC all-wheel drive, which has actually done a pretty darn good job. We don't have the best tires, which play the biggest role, but this has actually done a pretty good job. And I've been comfortable in here. Driving it, the ride comfort has been good, even though the road conditions have been different. I would say this is more comfortable than the GLB that I was in recently, which had bigger wheels, so that might have been part of that. Ergonomically, everything is pretty much the same as the GLB, but the ergonomics have been good too. I really don't have anything to complain about that. There is something to complain about though, and I'll talk about that in just a second. All right, now we are behind the wheel, and my normal route is pretty much full of snow and ice, where I'd like to, get up to speed and do all that. So this is going to be a different test drive, but like I said, the 4MATIC all-wheel drive has done a good job. I don't know how much snow we have right now, but it's been icy in some spots too. I know I had most wheels on some ice, and we've been able to do okay getting around. Now, I've got to say, like I just kind of left off with, the biggest thing I would complain about with this car is the transmission, hands down. Now, this is a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. Generally, you'll get a dual clutch for performance, to be a quick shifter, and I just don't think it's a good fit for this car. This car just seems to be a little bit classier, a little bit more luxurious, and not really the high-end sporty type that people are going to be looking for, unless you get the AMG, of course, which would be fine with the AMG. But for this one, on a day-to-day basis, the transmission has been jerky, especially with low speeds, taking off, slowing down, speeding up. I mean, it's unpleasant to drive with on a daily basis if you're constantly slowing down and speeding up. And as we get going here, a little bit of slip. I could have been easier on the pedal, but the biggest difference with snow conditions is going to be your tires and making sure you don't get on the throttle too much and force the spin out. So from a little takeoff here, the transmission was smooth and pretty much seamless. When you actually get pedal into it and you get on it, it does well, it responds well. But slowing down like at the stoplight up here, and in most cases, it's just not ideal. I wish it was just a regular automatic. But as I was saying, with this hard packed snow and ice kind of mixed around, there have been a couple little creaks and rattles in here, like, if you were going to be driving this on gravel or on bumpy pavements, and I'd be a little bit concerned about that, considering the fact that I've noticed it in these situations. The handling of this, it handles well. I haven't really been able to do much, but I like the weight of the steering. The steering, it feels nice. It's not super lightweight. It's not completely false and tossable. It actually works okay. And I probably won't get a good spot to do sport mode because most of the roads, this is about as clean as we get around here right now. But sport mode does pep it up a little bit. You definitely get the RPMs to climb. You can get a more responsive powertrain. But for the most part, most of you probably won't drive with that. Ergonomics have been good. I've had no complaints with that. I mean, everything is in reach. Everything is easy to operate once you get used to it. This little touchpad down here takes a minute. The screen, the two screens, being able to control both with your steering wheel is really nice. I showed you the touch factor on there and the touchpad, but you can use this side of your steering wheel to actually control that main screen. Another little complaint with the Mercedes is road noise. You might be able to hear some right now, but that GLB that I was recently in had quite a bit of road noise too. I haven't been able to do my decibel rating test because of the road conditions, but road noise is higher than expected. But you've got to remember, this is, an entry-level A-Class. And I wish features like radar cruise control and the lane keeping system were standard, or at least on this price point, but they're still optional from here. So the price does start to climb a little bit. So let's go ahead and wrap things up on this A-Class. So to wrap things up on this A-Class Mercedes-Benz, I like the style, I like the look, I like the technology that you can get with it. It's a good size, it's got a peppy enough engine, decent fuel economy, but the disappointing thing to me is that there's not a lot of standard features. Of course, you've got a lower priced Mercedes, an entry-level Mercedes, but you really don't get much at that base price. It gets expensive with the options, but I've still enjoyed my time with it. It's very classy. Let me know what you think down below, and be sure to check out the night review as well. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more reviews. Hit that thumbs up button if you liked it, and we'll catch you next time.